Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. This is Tina with To the Inner Wild. Today is July 17th, Friday. Hopefully this gets to be pinned up tomorrow. I'm tired of having a backlog of videos that I over agonize editing on because of the poor aesthetics right there. We're here to look beyond that, those distractions, to agonize over what's truly petty in the greater scheme of things is another kind of discipline, learning to let go of being so hard on myself, and hopefully you are also doing the same. So I've already cleansed this space, cleansed these cards. We're moving on to vibrational healing. Time seems to catch up so quickly, week by week, that I think I might be a little early. I'm not quite sure when the last time I did this. I want to go ahead and get straight to the point. I received some new messages to reiterate, after letting some things go, to focus on retreat and healing and reinvesting in myself. Maybe you're on the same journey. Regardless, I'm sure that we all could use a little healing. So these are not tarot cards that we're working with. If this is your first time here, these are not oracle cards. They are purely vibrational healing cards. So what this does is to spark your intuition, to help develop it, to become more in union with your mind, body, and soul, and start the healing process from within in order to see that in your external matrix. So what this uses is color therapy, sacred geometry, symbols, positive affirmations, and then an audio visual. It allows for a more meditative state, enabling a more harmonious flow, accepting the moment, being more in union with the moment, more at peace with the moment. So I've been noticing that I need to slow my roll when I am engaging in divinatory systems, to not feel so rushed like I normally do in real life for I don't know how many years. So even though these are not tarot or oracle cards, I am still going to seek Spirit's blessing to moderate this sacred space, make sure that any evil entities are kept out of this circle while we seek to heal and improve our state of being. In my previous readings, I've had that inclusive clause that enabled an equal ground for all to learn without the discriminatory aspect. But I'm realizing now, as I engage with many different forms of energy, that it is most important to keep this sacred space, this somewhat of a safe haven, protected, not just for myself, but for all of you, because this is a timeless message, and there's plenty of opportunities for those other entities to learn. What we're doing is to elevate and bring that forth into the world, and therefore they can engage in their learning process through that realm. But here we are keeping our area protected and safe with the blessing and guidance of Spirit, as well as his team of angels and our spirit guides. Spirit, we ask you for your blessing, your protection through Archangel Michael, as well as any others that you would like to designate here for our highest good. Let me go ahead and reignite this sage. It's a new sage, so it's not quite. It's a little nudge. Yes. There we go. Much better. All right. Spirit, if we could have one card to focus on this coming week for the collective whole, for prospective viewers. What's the one card? Oh, that we need. Oh my goodness, you guys. Look at what we got. This is the same one that we got. This is the same one that we got last week. Okay, so I encourage you to follow through with another week of engaging in awareness and how you can bring that card into the 5D realm of clarity. I'm not, what do you call it? A card magician? I don't know what you call it. A David Blaine? I don't know how to do any of that stuff, okay? So I'm glad I, shuffle on camera, but this is what we got last week. So I think it's very important. That is, I'm going to leave that there for now, and I'm going to look at the bottom of the deck. I feel like that's important, okay? So right here, let's see, is guidance, number 9. 9 is about completion, and what we're going to do here, okay, let me guide you through this. If this is your first time with your vibrational healing, because we are developing the system, we're developing its fluidity, and I'm going to need you to focus on this card right here, the image in whole. Okay, I'm going to try to bring it up closer. Spirit loves us. I'm getting a stream of Tibetan bold music, as well as just some spiritual stuff that's coming on my playlist. And I have 2 different phones where I try to switch off from because I'm not as technologically equipped or set up in my preferred state of professional aesthetics. But that's to follow. We're making baby steps here. So while we have that little intermission, I have my playlists, and they're not quite in sequence, but they carry the same station. So when I went from this phone, which was also starting the Tibetan singing bowl music, I switched to the other, the same station, and usually it triggers another song. And I have a very varied playlist. I follow maybe 50 channels. I have only one Tibetan singing bowl type of station, and here we go, dominating. So let's focus first on the form in totality. Okay. Once you focus on the form, look deeper into individual parts, the shapes, the sacred geometry that lies within the whole. Seek out the parts of the whole. And engage in what that means to you. The objects, its placement, each part within a part. Then focus on the colors, how that broadens its context. focus on the texture of each shape, each vibration of shapes formed within the whole. What thoughts come to mind, how you feel, how this is relative to the key word, which is guidance, and number 9 in numerology, which is about completion, and the duality of number 9, because it's all about universality. Let me read that to you. Number 9. So the positive attributes to 9 is universal love, generosity, humanitarianism, philanthropy. When you look at these images, these shapes, the colors, the texture, the placement, how does that vibrate? How does that resonate with you? Then let's look at the duality, the negative aspects to this number, which is abuse of power, domineering, and negative rulership. We're going to say no to that. There was another song that came in as soon as we started out on the negative aspects. So we quickly oust and refuse that energy. Okay. 9 is about guidance, universal love. And then the other side, this is old world. Okay, old world is all about form, structure, rules. It's very basic in context. A metaphor for it would be being a parent. You could be more of a provider, or a provider and a nurturer. So the old world is about meeting the basics, foundation, form. The new world is all about adding color to the form. This is, let's say, nurturing aspect of becoming a parent, provider, nurturer. Now, the book doesn't explain so much into detail, but in using these cards, this is my experience in coming to an understanding of what it's supposed to convey. And I'm sure that if you picked up these cards too, you would understand in practice that there is a deeper context to it. And that's probably the most concise way that I can explain it at this time. So let's see here, guidance, number 9. Okay, let's look more into that. Now I'm going to go ahead and since it's hard for me to see visually and concentrate to look at an image through a screen, okay? Plus I'm a Gemini, so I'm not saying all Geminis are this way, but I get pretty distracted. So for me, I have to see the hard copy, okay? And I'm going to turn back the lights, so give me one moment. Okay, 9. Okay, I'm going to let you look at that. The true colors, right? Purple, crown chakra, we have all kinds and sorts of colors. 3, we have a triad, highly spiritual and magical number, which Now, if you want to look at numerology, when you look at 120 piece, the new world, when you boil it down to its basic, it's 3, which is all about creativity, perfect integration, health, beauty, and joy. It expresses and it communicates the Trinity, body, mind, and spirit, Father, Son, and Holy Ghost. Peace. So you have that within, in the middle. But you have the triad in different forms, the vibrations of each. So there's the Vesica piscis, and it's 2 separate individual entities kind of bonded together, almost like 2 atoms forming a molecule, right? And there's a certain likeness to them as well as a separateness, or separateness, is that a word? Anyway, let's move forward, right? So you see that with all 3, body, mind, and spirit, the guidance, that's what we need to do. In union with awareness, which is also old world, and moving into clarity, new world. Oh, this is so cool. Okay, so the guidance here. Goodness, give me a second. I thought of something and then it just kind of slipped. What was I thinking? Excuse me for just a second. That's right. Okay. So, still focusing on awareness. Okay. Of our surroundings, of our being, how that relates as an individual microcosm as well as a macrocosm, how the interaction is crucial, it's natural, it's in its element, but also understanding the individualism, the accountability of the individual as well as separate, just as equally important. Right. Okay. So then when you look at this, okay, 5 plus 4, we've got 9, which is this. Letting that internal compass guide you, body, mind, and spirit, to bring that forth into the external realm, right? Your matrix. Breathe life into the external. What you know to be home, bring that forth. Yes, body, mind, and spirit, let that guide you in bringing forth peace to the external. Harmony. Clarity, right? Huh. And do you see that? The ripple effect in 3 separate directions. Interesting. Okay. Let's move forward with this. 9 is guidance. Trust yourself to be a dowsing rod that can guide you each moment of your life. Your inner witness knows what your destiny is and how you can change useless habits into pure capacity. Simply watch your dramas without identifying with them. Orient yourself to the love light within you and reflect on it is to be human. Feel the energy rise in you as you release conditioning, controlling relationships, and work that harms you. I just did a reading, I think yesterday or the day before yesterday, about different energies, of course, but it featured the Nine of Swords, and of course number 9 being, abusive relationships, and it really featured the negative aspects of 9 and the intent of another pure soul, one that holds integrity, of the higher state of 9, the intent of number 9, and the duality possibly being brought down by the negative aspects of that number purely through the external, succumbing to falsities in the matrix. And that includes these distractions, which is maybe working too much, the conditioning, societal conditioning imposed by, on a more local basis, from your lineage. You have something to offer humanity, like a seed that will germinate into harmonious action when you learn to follow your inner guidance continuously. Sometimes you need to make decisions that take you one way or another. Cease forcing anything. Allow the decision to arise naturally within you. Trust the truth, direction, and discernment of your inner guide. And they're talking about the inner guide, not the inner critic. That's who I'm battling with right now. I'm trying to calm the qualms of my inner critic. And I think that's something that we all have, because the inner critic never has any constructive criticism. It's always the latter. Just criticism. That's it. Just plain old criticism. So we're looking for the inner guide, the moral compass. The union of body, mind, and soul. Yes. Discern and find direction. Okay. So while you focus on this image, I'm going to speak a little excerpt to help guide you into this vibratory state. Now, keep in mind, though, that you do not need to really actually feel any kind of force or direct resonance when you engage in vibratory healing. The simple effect of your will and your intent to heal allows a broader receptivity within your being to allow these energies in to do what they're intended to do on a more subtle state. And the more you engage in this, the more you develop. It's almost like an intuition muscle. And they talk about taking seeds that will germinate into harmonious action. It's simply the same thing. So once you plant these seeds in, they grow. They heal, of course, on a metaphysical plane. How else could I say this? A seed is something that you do not really see on the surface or above ground. It's planted within. It starts within, something very small, but it has the potential to create, a ripple effect, higher vibrations, a broader resonance within your being. Okay? So, let's go ahead and focus. Visualize and feel guidance within you as the awareness that acts through you behind all appearances. Awareness, Sorry, okay, let's restart this, okay. Okay, here we go. Visualize and feel guidance within you as the awareness that acts through you behind all appearances. Guidance says, change reactive judgment and blame into discernment and the capacity to be open to deeper guidance. Okay, I'm going to read that one more time. Visualize and feel guidance within you as the awareness that acts through you behind all appearances. Guidance says, change reactive judgment and blame to discernment and the capacity to be open to deeper guidance. Our affirmation is, and we're going to repeat this 3 times, I am receiving guidance from my higher self each instant. I am receiving guidance from my higher self each instance. I am receiving guidance from my higher self each instant. Okay. So I think that's it for part A. Like I said, I'm going to boil this down to 2 parts to identify the key factor, the key focus for the day. And obviously it's both here. We have some homework to do, okay? 2 cards of focus. The world needs it. That means that we need it, right? And so these are key points to direct us on what we need to focus on this week, or the week that you find this. The next half, part B, will be continuing guidance on suggestions, a rough roadmap to how we can integrate guidance into our day-to-day, our routines. Our routines are about structure, but they should also have the allowance for flexibility. So within that flexibility, we're going to integrate what we need more guidance on. Okay, I think that's it for now. Thanks for joining me. If this resonated with you, please hit the like button, subscribe, hit the notifications bell. I am determined to continue this regardless of what judgment may pass with my inner critic on the numbers that I see. It's a challenge in itself, sharing time. And if you step back, forget about the inner critic, and remember, this is personal, okay, but I think that this is all relatable. If you step back and remember the purpose of what you're doing, the purpose of what I'm doing here is good in itself. There was a core to why I started this, and this was all about self-development. And if there were any others that could share along with, it was a synonymous journey, because I am part of the collective whole as well as you. If there are any others out there that could benefit from this, then hooray! It's positive and meaningful in itself to carry forward what my intent is, to stand in my truth of integrity. What's the right word for it? Contentment, to finding a sense of harmony with what you do, what your purpose is, not trying to prove it to yourself through how the matrix, how the external world responds to it, but by the pure intent of what you're doing and why you're doing it. That's really important. It starts from within. So I have to remember that regardless of how many numbers I see up on the scoreboard, that I need to step away for a second and redefine myself and what I'm doing by the pure intent of it. And that's where I'll find peace. So Hopefully that was helpful to you. I know that was helpful for me. But I think that's something that we all struggle with, regardless of whether or not you're in a public forum. Just being right with yourself and following that moral compass of yours, rediscovering it, regardless of what others may say in it or have a thought in it. That's important. Staying firm in foundation of your truth, believing in it, that what you're doing is positive, and regardless of whether or not there is a following, at least you're following through with its purpose. Yes, I think that's where it starts. Because with each coming generation, the sense of immediate gratification heightens. The sense of escapism heightens. The sense of aloofness heightens. And that's the kind of world that we live in. That's the kind of world that we're a part of. So, thank you for joining me. Hopefully that didn't come off too preachy. I'm just trying to make sense out of things as I progress. And we're going to step into the next side, which is part B. Anyway, have a good one if this is where we stop. If not, then I'll see you on side B. And once again, thanks for your time and thanks for joining me. Thanks for investing in the intent to improve your state of being as well as the world, and that will not be forgotten. Our angels are watching, our guardians, our guides are watching, Spirit is watching. Yay! Thank you, Spirit. Okay, see you again. Bye.